Welcome back to the channel. It's been a little while since we dissected one of the doctored up third-party auction cars that's sitting up for sale. I've been a little bit busy, but this one was too good not to share. So I made a little bit of time and we're going to have a look at it. Now, this car, I was not ready for what I found when I did a little research. And if the doctoring up wasn't enough to keep you from buying this car, the history will definitely keep you from buying this car. And if you're buying it for parts, well, you might not even want it then. So what is our car? It's a 2020 Acura RDX Aspec all-wheel drive. Now, this isn't from our favorite sellers down in Miami. This one is actually in Washington, D.C., well, just outside of it in Maryland. So let's see what it looks like. And we'll see what jumps out at us and see if you can figure out what it looked like before it was doctored up. And I bet you're not even going to be close. Right off the bat, we can see that our rear door does not match our front door or our quarter. So it looks like maybe that's been replaced, and it has some damage at the bottom here. There's a couple of dents in the roof and one in the A-pillar. Our front door is not fitting our fender, and it looks like maybe the bottom of the front door is buckled a little bit. Our hood is not fitting our fender at all. That gap is way too tight. It's not latched, or maybe it is, but it looks like it's just sitting on the safety. If it actually is latched, that gap is way off. Our sunroof's popped up a little bit. Usually means that the airbags went off, broke the guides in there. Missing a wheel liner. Shouldn't be able to see those tabs. There should be some black rivets in there. Our headlight is not fitting our bumper or vice versa. And it looks like we're missing a emblem in the front. And this emblem is not cheap. I believe it's $600 list from the dealer. So kind of important to have that. Our hood gap is even worse on this side. It's way up, so maybe it's latched, maybe it's not. There's a dent in our roof up here. Looks like there's something going on back here with the back door. We'll look at that in a second. Our bumper is not fitting our fender very well over here. And our door looks even worse from over here. Maybe the front door went back into it and buckled it out. It looks like the skin is pulled away in the center. Looks like our wheel well's pushed in a little bit down here in the dog leg. And there's some dents in the roof. At least they match the other side. A dent and a quarter. Looks like we got a little bit of alignment issue. Unless we're building a NASCAR here, all that negative camber, not really going to help us. So that's got to go. Our exhaust tailpipe is pushed out a little bit. Should be further under there. A little damage here on the bumper. And our hatch might not be fitting quite the best up here. This hatch is not steel. It's plastic, I believe. So it can't be bent. It'll just crack. But there's definitely something going on there. This side doesn't look too bad. Let me see our dents up there a little bit better. But this corner looks okay. There's definitely a dent in our rear door here. And this is definitely bowed out the front door up there. And our airbags deployed and cut out. Typical. Seatbelt locked up, definitely. This airbag went off. I would assume the other airbag went off. Good shot of our missing emblem and our headlight that doesn't fit well at all. 17,096 miles. Got lots of a dash emojis here. This is a non-run and drive, so it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't start. So not looking good. We can see our seat split. We knew that airbag went off. Looks like there's a tear in the headliner up here, so I'm certain our curtain airbags probably went off, and if they didn't replace the other ones, you could be sure they didn't replace those. And there's our VIN number, so you can take note of that to make sure that the car I'm showing you is the same as this car. And since our tag is torn up a little bit, and this is in the driver's door B-pillar, I would have to assume that there was some damage there. A shot of our engine. We're missing a closeout panel up here. Looks like our battery box has a crack in it. Some overspray on our AC lines, so they were painting over here. Headlights Didn't really take the best picture. These headlights are very expensive. They're probably just held in there with bubble gum. If you're ever wondering, the headlights you see on eBay that are super cheap, who buys them? Well, these kind of people buy them, and they just throw them in there. If they have no tabs on them or holes in the back, they don't care. They just want the outside to look good for the pictures, and they're zip tied in there or duct taped in or whatever. Our hood hinge has been replaced on this side. It's black. This one, it's got some black bolts. I guess they couldn't find the original ones. So looks like somebody's definitely had the hood off and changed at least this hood hinge. We do have a key, so it should start. Let's go to the 360. See if there's anything that we didn't see. Definitely see our bumpers not fitting right. Looks like there might be a 2-inch tape line and then overspray on the rest of the door when they were painting something black. And our door. And it looks like this door was replaced because the paint is peeling here. The A-Specs, this is all black trim. And on the regular RDXs, this is chrome. And it looks like they just spray painted the chrome and it's peeling off of there. Which is slightly better than this side where they didn't get around to painting the chrome. So this is definitely a replaced door, or at least the trim on the top. Probably just a used door that they threw on. Head inside. Our airbag is off. Knee bolster, I'm sure. This seat airbag. Definitely a tear in our headliner, so we need curtain airbags. Looks like we need all the airbags, except for maybe the passenger front. So now that you've seen the car, what do you think is wrong with it, or was wrong with it? Well, technically it's still wrong with it, but... All right, let's go take a look at what it looked like when they bought it. Is that what you thought it looked like? That's not what I thought it looked like. So it's hit pretty bad, and most people wouldn't rebuild this car just looking at this picture. However, if you look a little closer, the biggest reason most people would not rebuild this car or drive this car ever again is this was part of a fatal accident. The way you tell is these marks right here on the wheels. They're used to mark the location of the wheels when the vehicles came to rest at the accident scene so they can do the accident recreation. So if you ever see a vehicle with marks on the tires, it was involved in a fatal. Now you could say that, well, maybe there was somebody in the other car that died and not this one. Well, since this one is a biohazard and it's covered in blood, I'm going to go with they died in this car. And if you didn't think this was bad enough, how about this side? Yeah. They spent a lot of time doctoring this car up. Let's see, we're going to need a door here, a complete front end assembly, 2 more doors here, a windshield, all of our airbags, both seats, both curtains, the driver, knee bolster. The only airbag that didn't deploy was, well, there's a knee bolster down there, and then the passenger airbag up here. But this one's probably no good. Well, the airbag might be, but the cover isn't because the glass laying on there cuts up the top of the dash, so it'll have slices all over it. So they clearly put a windshield in it as well. We got some blood over here on the knee bolster airbag. This is just water. And that frame rail's shoved over pretty good. Guessing that maybe they pulled it straight, but I wouldn't be surprised if they just cut it out. And I would say that the reason it probably doesn't drive is because there's an engine mount right here. As far as this frame rail shoved over, it wouldn't surprise me if it took part of the engine width when it tore it apart. So that's probably why it won't start. So they spent probably double what they paid for it trying to doctor it up. They paid $4,500. They've had this thing for a little over 2 years. Not sure why they were hanging on to it that long. Maybe they were hoping these pictures would go away, but the internet is forever. You can see here's the VIN number. So it is the same vehicle. They didn't have any mileage on this one, probably because they figured anybody would be just parting it out, and it wasn't worth the struggle to light up the dash. The only thing really good on this thing is a lift gate, a couple taillights, rear bumper, quarter panel, and maybe 2 wheels, and some rear suspension. Everything else really is junk on this thing. So if you're buying it for that, you probably shouldn't have paid $4,500. So they were buying it to doctor it up. Maybe a mirror on this side. So it definitely looks like it went underneath the back of something high, probably a semi truck. Then something else probably came along and hit the side of it. It was definitely having a bad day. So as much as I would love to buy this vehicle, bring it back, and take it apart piece by piece to show you everything they did, the amount of effort they put into doctoring this thing up, and show you how they could have done it the right way, I feel that that could just lead them to start doing this more often because they made a sale. So I'd rather just not buy the car, and hopefully nobody else does, but there are a lot of uneducated people. I can't educate everybody. I'm trying, but I'm just a little channel. So hopefully enough people realize that this thing has definitely been hacked up and nobody bids on it and they get stuck with it. Maybe that will discourage them from doing this in the future. Could it have been repaired? Yeah. Was it worth it? Absolutely not. It would cost you what 2 RDXs would cost you to fix this one. So you might as well just go buy another one. If you like this video, until I get a cease and desist, I will keep making these when I find good ones that pop up. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.